Here's what I know is true. Most weight loss plans are one size fits all. So frustrating. They don't take into account each person's individual needs, which could mean dietary restrictions, medical issues, or other personal needs. That's why you're going to love Noom. It's built for your psychology and your biology, meeting you where you are. Noom's personalized programs feel more sustainable than any other, more restrictive weight loss programs. And also, it doesn't shame you when you choose to treat yourself, and that's important. I like this company because it's got a psychology and biology-based approach and a super easy app to use with lots of great features, including daily lessons, coaching, and flexibility. I think it's your time to start. Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit Noom.com for more information. Okay, you want to look luxurious but not spend a lot of money? I got you covered. With Quince, you're going to treat yourself to everyday luxury at an affordable price. Something everyone needs in their closet, in my opinion. Quince's iconic Mongolian cashmere sweaters, guess what? They start at $50. Or if you really want to up your luxe factor, check out their Italian leather bags, washable silk skirts, and European linen sheet sets. Whatever you're looking for, all Quince items are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. It's because they partner directly with top factories and cut the costs of the middleman, passing the savings on to you. And also, they work with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices. And of course, they use premium fabrics and finishes for that luxury feel. You guys need to go get yourself the bodysuits. That's my new obsession. Look great with jeans or a skirt. Treat yourself this winter without the luxury price tag. Go to quince.com/KateCasey for 365-day returns, plus free shipping on your order. That's QUINCE.com/KateCasey to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/KateCasey.
The amazing Kate Casey.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey. In this episode, I discuss a new Peacock documentary about Sean Combs, known professionally as Puff, Puff Daddy, and later Diddy, a music producer, rapper, and an entrepreneur facing federal charges for sex crimes and several related lawsuits. In 1990, 20-year-old Sean Combs began an internship at Uptown Records, a record label based in New York City, founded in 1986 by old-school rapper Dr. Jekyll, Andre Harrell. From the late 1980s into the early 1990s, it was a leader in New Jack Swing, R&B, hip-hop, and hip-hop soul. And he worked with newly signed acts including Jodeci, Father MC, and Mary J. Blige. They all together placed a number of singles on the R&B chart. Amongst the employees at Uptown, Kim Porter, a receptionist who also appeared in music videos, and Al B. Shore, a main writer and producer and an executive for the label. Sean Combs launched his music production company, Bad Boy Entertainment, in 1993, and he worked with artists like Mariah Carey, Mary J. Blige, and Biggie Smalls. After Biggie was murdered in 1997, Sean Combs recorded the tribute, I'll Be Missing You, which topped the Billboard Hot 100 for 11 weeks and launched his first album, No Way Out, to platinum status before it captured a Grammy Award. Now, beyond music, he started an apparel line, had a host of acting credits, and worked in reality TV and had a tequila company. But his reputation suffered greatly in November of 2023 when he became embroiled in several lawsuits for physical and sexual abuse. Sean Combs was arrested in September 2024 in a New York hotel on charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, and transportation for purposes of prostitution. Federal prosecutors have accused him of creating a criminal enterprise in which he abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and to conceal his conduct. They have said he used drugs, violence, and power of his status to lure female victims into extended sex acts called freak-offs. And they also revealed he had firearms, ammunition, and more than 1,000 bottles of lubricant during those raids of his homes in Miami and Los Angeles in March of 2024. He has pled not guilty to a grand jury indictment and was denied bail by two separate judges and is set to remain behind bars until May 5th of 2025 when his trial begins. And he could face life in prison if found guilty of the racketeering charge. In episode 1130, I interviewed attorney Michael Weinstein about the federal charges against Sean Combs. In episode 1112, I interviewed Victor Williams, retired Homeland Security investigations agent and an anti-human trafficking advocate, about the Sean Combs raid. In today's episode, I interview Ari Mark, producer of Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy, a new Peacock documentary that tells the story of Sean Combs' early years and offers crucial insight into the forces that shaped the man that may have made him a monster. The special also includes exclusive, never-before-seen footage of Diddy partying at home and in the studio. Diddy's labelmate at Uptown Records, Al B. Shore, also speaks for the first time on his relationship with Kim Porter before she started dating Diddy. Now, the first suit filed in New York by a Jane Doe claims that Sean Combs spiked her drink at a charity basketball game in 1991 and sexually assaulted her. And after the encounter, she told Combs that she would tell her friend about the incident, which he discouraged from doing so because people can come up missing, and the friend would never know. LaTroya Grayson filed the second suit in New York against Sean Combs, Atlantic Records, Delta Airlines, and more. She claims that she won a radio contest in 2006 to fly from Oklahoma to New York City to attend one of his white parties, which was later changed to a black party. After consuming a pre-made drink, she felt sick and tried to go to the bathroom, waking up later at the hospital with her shirt ripped, her underwear missing, and her wallet stolen. The day she returned home from New York, she received a call from an anonymous woman who threatened her and said that pursuing anything related to assault would be futile because Combs was a celebrity and that she would be wasting her time. Now, there are now in upwards of 120 lawsuits against Sean Combs, and each victim's story the more devastating. Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy, fills in a lot of the gaps of Sean Combs' origin story. How his father, Melvin Combs, had done business with Frank Lucas, a gangster and drug kingpin who had constructed an international drug ring that spanned from New York to Southeast Asia, and was murdered in his car parked off of Central Park West in 1972 for being a suspected informer. His childhood friend Tim claims his mother Janice threw sexually charged wild parties at her Mount Vernon home. So how is a monster made? What happened at Uptown Records? It is all discussed. Among the participants, Al B. Shore, who was married to the late Kim Porter from 1989 to 1990 and a vocal critic of Sean Combs. Here is my interview with the producer, Ari Mark. Ari, first of all, I don't know how in the world this project came to be, but I am so grateful for it. So first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
How was this project conceptualized and how hard was it to put together? Please walk me through this because the minute I got this in my inbox, I started to sweat.
Tell me about it. I think there's two types of projects. There's projects that I'll kind of conjure from thin air because I'm like, I need to make this. And then there's projects where kind of the universe sort of finds its way to me. I think in this case, it was definitely more the latter. And what I mean by that is, these projects are, they're hard and the stakes are very, very high. So when you get involved in these types of things, especially when it's a big kind of pop culture individual, it's sort of, you just want to really be measured and careful about what type of story you're telling, right? And as much as I love what I do, I wasn't like, I need to make a Diddy documentary, to be honest. That wasn't where this came from. It was actually, I actually don't want to make a Diddy documentary because everyone's making a Diddy documentary and those documentaries don't frankly look very good. So I was like, what's really the point? But because I work in this genre a lot, I do talk to people, I do meet people, and people were approaching me saying, why are you doing a Diddy doc? Why aren't you doing a Diddy doc? What's the, I was like, look, I just don't know what the angle is. And then ultimately we met a woman named Ariel Mitchell, who's in the documentary, who's an attorney who represents a bunch of victims. And not only was she impressive, but her client roster was pretty incredible. And the stories that they were telling were just very moving and brave. And there's a lot more, I think, that's even in the doc. But the opportunity to do a victim forward show, as opposed to just making it a very salacious kind of retelling of Diddy's pop culture iconography. That in itself felt worth it. It felt important. And as those victims started to stack up and their stories started to feel a little different from one another, and they were willing to go on camera, it felt like something that sometimes it feels that we're a little bit responsible to do those things because the documentary platform, we could say what we want about nonfiction storytelling in general, but especially when it comes to the crime genre of any kind, not only can you reach a lot of people, but you could actually change their minds about things. And it really does move those stories forward. It really does. Those real life really does actually communicate with those projects, if that makes any sense, and interact with them. So that was one piece. I think the second piece was, instead of just doing a retelling of here's the major milestones in Diddy's career and here's all the messed up news that's coming out of the entertainment world, what if we actually took a step back and zoomed out and said, okay, how do people like this get actually made?
Mm-hmm.
Not in a lab. They're not made in a lab. They're made in life, right? And through experiences like all of us. And so the tricky part was just being really careful not to necessarily humanize, but at the same time unpack this guy's past and deliver to the audience sort of little kind of Easter eggs of, oh my God, I never knew that about Sean Combs. And now I'm starting to understand a little bit more of who he was, what his evolution was from his upbringing all the way through his getting the keys to the city, right? So that felt different. That felt like, okay, we're looking at this through a psychological lens. We're looking at this through a societal lens. We're looking at this through a victim-forward lens. I don't think that's what other folks are doing. A lot of other producers will go, what are the big gets?
Right.
Let's get the biggest people we can get. And that just wasn't the approach. And to Peacock credit, they understood that. And this was not them saying to me, you have to get this person and you have to get that person. It was like, no, who's in his circle that is going to tell the most 360 picture here? And I think we did that.
My new goal this year is hydration. My days get so busy, it's actually the one thing that I always forget to do. And I love Liquid IV. It is powered by Hydroscience, and it helps you break the mold. They've got great flavors, like my personal favorite, the pina colada. Think about how much you are working out. Are you refueling? How much did you actually drink to rehydrate? Liquid IV is leading the way in flavor innovation. They've got a ton of great flavors, including the sugar-free flavors like raspberry lemonade, white peach, and rainbow sherbet. You can break the mold and own your own ritual. Just one stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, and always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. Embrace your ritual with extraordinary hydration from Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code KateCasey at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today by using promo code KateCasey at liquidiv.com. This episode is sponsored by Acorns. Acorns makes it easy to start automatically saving and investing so your money has the chance to grow for you, your kids, and your retirement. You don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you invest with the spare money you've got right now. You can start with $5 or even just your spare change. And you don't need to be an expert. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that fits you and your money goals. Head to acorns.com/KKC or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 1 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC and SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/KKC. What in terms of times or like timeline? After, when did you start pick up cameras? When did you start filming? How does that align with the sequence of events and the raid and the arrest?
Truthfully, we didn't actually start shooting until like really, really late. Like I want to say September, October.
Wow.
So that's like pretty crazy timeline. It's actually kind of unprecedented. So that's less of me trying to pat us on the back as much, really, frankly, the network being able to move that quickly. But I think they understood the urgency there. And I think, on the one hand, you never really want to chase stories because they're in the zeitgeist. But on the other hand, if you can tell a story of substance while that wave is still kind of cresting, you can just make a much, much bigger impact, right? Because people are already tapped into that story. So when they're familiar with something and they're familiar with a story or a character, then you get to defamiliarize it. And that's where the interesting stuff happens.
And in some ways, is it because you're doing it from the story from the beginning, all of the updates that come with it, there's less stress about it because you're starting with the origin story versus others that are trying to like keep up with the news wave. That would be pretty hard to keep telling the story because it's so complicated and ever changing.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. I think you're right. Once we made the decision to not say we're chasing the news, right? It really does allow you to focus and yes, tell a story that, sure, it's probably more interesting right this minute, but in 10 years, hopefully it's almost equally interesting, right? Mm-hmm. So it becomes, it's not as perishable and it doesn't feel frivolous. And I think that's what this project is, as opposed to, what often sometimes these projects can become.
Absolutely. Now, I kept thinking too, as I began to watch this, and I think Albie Shore does speak to this. He would say something like, I've been approached by 40 different filmmakers. You have to differentiate yourself from the rest, and you're obviously doing that by saying, we want to begin with the origin story here. But to get access to someone like Tim, who is the family friend, the person that was closest to him in his life, witness to what happened in his own, Sean Combs' childhood home. How did you get them on board? And how did you get Albie Shore on board? Because, as mentioned, he's been approached by other filmmakers, but it does seem at times that he is still in the throes of unpacking what has happened to himself, to Kim, and keeping up with the news cycle and the amount of people that are interested in the story.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, Tim Patterson to me is sort of, a lot of the heart of this film. And I don't know if we would have even made the film without him. And I give all the credit for that to our other EPs, Laura Jones and Stephanie Frederick, because they had been developing a relationship with him for a very long time. And I don't know that they knew exactly what form that relationship would take or necessarily, what would come of it. But when I met them, that was a huge solidifying piece of, okay, we really need to do this. It wasn't about getting the big celebrity. It was actually the opposite. It was about getting, to your point, it was about getting the kid who's living in the basement with them, And that's why these projects aren't one-man band projects. These are projects that require, a collaboration, right? And it's for that reason. Albie Shore, I mean, I just talked to him a bunch, and I think maybe part of it was timing. I think maybe part of it was him really understanding the angle we were taking in the project and liking that. And we really weren't trying to force his hand. I don't think, and I think you get that sense in the doc. We weren't trying to produce him. We weren't trying to say, this is what we want you to do. This is what we want you to say. You can sense his hesitation. You can sense he's working through these feelings.
Yeah.
And I expect probably as he gets more comfortable talking, maybe you'll be seeing more of him. I'm not really sure. But But honestly, sometimes getting a guy like Albie Shore is really just as simple as saying, look, we have a great track record. We're doing this for the right reasons. We're not full of it. And, it's time, start the process. There's clearly some kind of catharsis that he's so emotionally entangled in this whole thing that, I think he's getting to that place of wanting to work through those feelings.
I do get a sense from each of them in their own way. There is a bit of fear that still exists, and one could understand. I mean, Sean Combs is in prison right now, but we don't know what's going to happen in the future. As you began to interview and have conversations and interview all of the people that have participated in this documentary, were you all cognizant of that there is still a layer of fear for each of these victims because they don't know what's going to happen?
100%. I mean, not one person in this documentary was gung-ho about, doing this, right? I think they felt like they had a responsibility to do it. And I think they felt like, it was an opportunity for them to sort of say their piece. And in the cases of the victims, I think, maybe it's a question of just them being ready. But absolutely, I mean, there's definitely a tangible feeling of sort of what I mean by hesitation, right? There's a little bit of a feeling of, I'm doing this, but I wish it hadn't come to this, right? Nobody is taking, nobody's taking solace, nobody's taking glee in participating in this, right? Nobody's like, it's not a celebration. So I think that is palpable. I agree with you. And that's definitely intentional to let the audience feel a little bit of that breath of, we let a little bit more air into it, maybe than sometimes we would, right? And lingered on some moments to sort of make sure that you feel like there's a rawness to their experience and to their recall.
Yeah. Post-holiday, sugar crash is real. And parents, let's be honest, finding snacks that satisfy your kids and don't leave them bouncing off the walls isn't exactly easy. That's why I use Thrive Market. They make it simple to find healthier, kid-approved swaps for all of those sugary, junk-filled favorites. And the best part, they've got a healthy swap scanner in the Thrive Market app. It's a total game changer. You scan a product that your kids love, like their favorite chips or crackers, and the app shows a cleaner, healthier alternative. So my kids love Takis. I got them late July Hawaiian habanero chips. Thrive Market also takes the guesswork out of finding safe, healthy food. All of their products are 100% non-GMO and free from over 1,000 harmful ingredients. Plus, their on-site filters make it easy to shop by your family's dietary needs. For example, I eat gluten-free. The best part, everything gets delivered straight to your door, so you don't have to take that stress of searching grocery aisles or reading tiny ingredient lists. Ready for a junk-free start to 2025? Head to thrivemarket.com/Kate Casey and get 30% off your first order, plus a free $60 gift. That's THRIVE market.com/Kate Casey. thrivemarket.com/Kate Casey.
Ready to electrify your drive? Hyundai's cutting-edge EV lineup is about to change everything you thought you knew about electric vehicles. Prepare to be captivated by a range that's as bold as it is brilliant. From the lightning-fast Ioniq 5 and Ioniq 6, charging from 10 to 80% in a mere 18 minutes, to the tech-packed cabins boasting highway driving assist and blind spot collision warning, Hyundai EVs are redefining the electric experience. And with America's best warranty, including a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited electric battery warranty, you'll drive with unmatched confidence. Hyundai's EVs aren't just the future. They're the now you've been waiting for. Learn more about Hyundai's EVs at HyundaiUSA.com. Call 562-314-4603 for complete details. America's best warranty claim based on total package of warranty programs. See dealer for limited warranty details. See your Hyundai dealer for further details and limitations.
How many people did you have, or maybe this there is no number, but were there people that you spoke to and then they said, you know what, I can't move forward? Like, I'm too uncomfortable.
There's lots of people we spoke to that almost participated and didn't. It wasn't always for the same reasons. You know, for some people, I think they felt like either we got the sense that they were trying to benefit for the wrong reasons, you know, and we didn't want to go down that road, or it was for the reasons of emotional toll. Mm-hmm. And just, is it worth it for them to what they gain emotionally and from a cathartic standpoint? Is it enough? You know, and in some cases it's not, I think.
And in telling the origin story, was it hard for you to get information on Janice Combs and her husband, their personal stories? It's noted in the documentary that, you know, she did not speak with you, but getting access to her, did you feel like that was like Fort Knox?
Yeah, I mean, I think his entire camp, I think sort of, you know, we did reach out to him and, you know, his sort of collective, right? Because it's when you reach out to him and his people, you're kind of reaching out to the family as well, right? And kind of, it was a pretty hard kind of no. And I think that if I'm trying to think how to, it's interesting because I don't, I think about that too. I almost wonder what they would even say. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'm just thinking hypothetically if they had said, yeah, great, let's go on camera, you know. But I think they're sort of, them declining and the manner in which they decline, I think, you know, sort of also kind of speaks.
Well, first of all, do you think that there's a possibility that you'll continue with this subject, even like a second part? And the other part of the question is, what is the part that's going to stay with you that will haunt you the most?
I don't know. I mean, I definitely think this is not, unfortunately, the end of this story. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if there was more content to come from it. It's, you know, I've been doing this a long time, so it's really hard for me to say ever that a project is going to happen or that something's going to happen next, because it's so impossible to predict in our business of, you know, where those kind of chips will fall, right? I mean, we don't really know what the next chapter of the story is yet. We don't know what the legal limitations will be for telling those stories. We also don't know how the doc's going to be received. So I think because we feel good about this project and we feel good about what we were able to pull off in a short time, I think the idea is to kind of wait and see, and kind of, you know, prop this project up and give it a minute and then maybe regroup based on what happens in the future.
The thing that haunts me the most is the fact that there were five employees of Uptown Records, and how many of them are now deceased.
Big point, yeah.
That is going to haunt me. What is going to haunt you after making this project?
I mean, to me, it's the victims. I mean, I know that sort of feels obvious, but I just, when you hear them speak, you do get the sense that this has damaged them forever. Right? This is not the type of thing where it feels like, you know, oh yeah, like I'll just move on with my life. Right. And I fortunately have no idea what these women and men, you know, have to go through, but it's not comfortable to be in a position, even if you feel like it's for the best of intentions, to record these people's stories and put it out there into the world. It's uncomfortable, right? It feels, it always is a feeling of hesitation on our part, right? There's always a feeling of, you know, how far are they going to go? How far do they want to go? Are we pushing them? Are we not pushing them? Are we doing this? Are we stepping back? Are we doing this the right way? And so there's a lot of ethical questions, I think, that come up with that stuff. And let's just say it haunts me, but it haunts me on all my projects, to be honest. And I don't know if it's something that I'm ever going to be feeling like okay about. But then when you see the result and you get the letters and the phone calls and the emails, thank you so much, and you handled this way or that way, that helps a lot. That helps a lot.
Well, I'm really appreciative to you and your team for working on something that is obviously very complex. And the victim stories, as you noted, are the most important. So you can stream Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy, starting January 14th on Peacock. I am grateful for your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
The amazing Kate Casey.
I want to thank my great guest, Ari Mark, and remind you to click subscribe, leave a 5-star review, join the Facebook group Reality Life with KKC. Make sure that you check out the bonus episodes for even more about this episode by going to Patreon, patreon.com/KKC. And also make sure you follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at KKCCA, TikTok, it's Kate Casey, Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky at KKC. And please check back tomorrow for an all-new episode.
%80 of the work week is spent communicating, so it's important your team does it well. Enter Grammarly. Grammarly's AI helps teams communicate clearly the first time. It shows you how to make words resonate with your audience, helps with brainstorming, and lets you instantly create and revise drafts in just one click. Join the over 70,000 teams and 30 million people who use Grammarly to move work forward. Go to Grammarly.com/enterprise to learn more. Grammarly, enterprise-ready AI.